So, hello everyone. I hope you are doing fine. I hope you are staying healthy. And today, what we are going to talk about is habits. You all must be familiar with this word. I think most of us have realized that we all have certain habits that are good for us and that are bad for us. So, I thought let's dug deep into habits and really understand what are the basic components of habit, and aside from good and bad habits, what really habit means. Let's now understand what really is habit, and does it really matters that the habit is good or bad. Let's take a scientific look towards a habit and what are the basic component of a habit loop. So the first component of habit loop, I am stating a habit as a loop because you repeat it again and again. You must have realized it that we are repeating our habits again and again in a certain manner. So the first component of a habit is trigger. If you don't know, let me tell you that habits are worldwide used for marketing by many companies. And if you don't believe me, you can check the story of Pepsodent, that they used a simple trigger as a time, or they can use trigger as emotions or a physical state. The trigger can even be the company of someone, or if you are in a particular group. One major example of a trigger is stress. You must have heard stress eating, you must have heard stress drinking, because major people have this stress as a trigger in their life. So what they really want to do, they drink, they abuse drugs so that they can forget that particular problem for a few moments. And the researchers have shown that not everyone like the feeling of drunk. They just want to forget the stress. One more example we can take is timing. After lunch, some go out to smoke. So a particular timing can also be a trigger. Another common trigger is low dopamine. The low dopamine is what causes you to repeat feeding memes, stand-up comedy videos, and if you don't know that, you must search about how really are these social media platforms being created. They have been developed in such a manner that they release much more amount of dopamine again and again. That's why as soon as your phone rings, the first thing you do is check and scroll again and again. And triggers are also as simple as thirst. When you want to drink water, the thirst is the trigger for that habit. The second part of the loop is routine. Every trigger leads to an automated response of your mind, and this is called routine. In routine, your mind can go into such an autopilot state that you don't even care for your family or any other's feelings, your friends, and this leads to major problems also. You must have noticed how some people cannot change their habits, and this reflects majorly to their relationships, and this causes many problems. Routine is always activated after the trigger. Let's take an example. At morning, the first thing you do is brush your teeth, right? So sometime you must have noticed that you wake up at evening after a nap and automatically you start brushing because you lost the track of time, and suddenly your mind goes into that autopilot mode and automatically start brushing, and that's where the habit loop triggers. The third component of this habit loop is reward. You must understand that even small habit like brushing gives you reward. You have the sensation of mint and tingling sensation, and that is what is reward for you. Yeah, you may feel that this is very tiny reward. How can this lead to such massive habits? Then you must really dig into the case study of Pepsodent. For regular caffeine consumers, it is the rush of the blood that is the reward for it. Or it may be for alcoholics that they need to forget the few moments of stress. For gamers, victory for a match of 40 to 45 minutes. But have you realized how some habits are so much easy to engrave in our routine and some habits are not? Like some habits are so obvious and so easy to engrave in ourselves and some habits are not. Also, some habits may vary. And this same question struck to many scientists also. So they did an experiment on monkeys, apes, and for starters, habit is not just seen in humans, rather it is operated in very primitive part of our brain called basal ganglia. So it has been passed on from many other mammals. So the experiment was set up and the monkey was seated in front of a screen which show a set of figures, and selecting the right figure give them a few drop of apple juice. Along all this, the activity of ape's brain was also observed. Now every time the monkey selects the right answer, it was rewarded with few drops of apple juice. Repeating this for some days, scientists observed that this became a habit, and scientists observed two things. First, that the activity of brain was really high when they see the figure on the screen, and secondly, when they got reward. Activity of brain was low at the time when the monkey was selecting the correct option, and this shows the part where the monkey have to select the option. At that particular part, the habit loop begins and the routine begins, and this is the autopilot mode of this particular habit. And it was also observed the same experiment that some apes used to like orange juice more than the apple juice. The reason for it was still not understood. In next few experiment session, what the scientists did was they diluted the juice and reduced the sweetness. As soon as they get this diluted reward, it shows that the monkey was having the feeling of anger, frustration, and some kind of depression. Also, in next few steps, they opened the door so that monkey can go and play with other friends and even eat food. There was an amazing observation that some monkey go out after a while, but some monkey stuck there and they selected the right figure and get the drop of juice again and again. This showed that not only trigger, routine and reward is important, but there is a crucial role of something else that was embedded in this loop, and that differentiated the two categories of monkey, that the one who didn't leave, the one who left. And this is craving. The rule for the craving of habit is very, very crucial. Here, these monkeys who developed the craving for the sweetness of the juice were more driven towards repeating their habits. And as soon as you reduce sweetness, they get angry and frustrated. As soon as the craving was not satisfied, they get frustrated. This means the crucial part of developing a habit is craving. So the fourth component is craving. Here are some few examples of craving. It is as simple as tingling sensation in your mouth, that is while brushing. Industry is really intuitive, and what they have done is They added foaming substances in our detergents and soaps so that they form crucial habit. As soon as a consumer doesn't see foam, it doesn't give them the it doesn't satisfy their craving and they don't feel it is clean. Yeah, sodium laurate, which has been added in your detergents, in your soaps, in your shampoos, its main function is just foaming and it has nothing to do with cleaning. And that's how industry works. They are really digging into the psychology, how a human brain works, and they are tweaking it. In all this above discussion, I've told you how there are bad habits. So remember that habits are very crucial and important ability which is embedded in our mind, and there is a particular reason of that. You can't just get rid of them. You can't just get rid of our habits. Every time you drive a car, and every time you are driving a car, you won't be remembering each and everything, that when to press the clutch, when to accelerate, when to shift, when to give gas. No, this is what is habit. Habit is really very crucial. And if you don't have habits, your mind would be working its ass out for coordination of our hands and legs every time you would be going for a drive. But the problem is, living blindly with these habits running you till the end of the day is not what you really want. But the problem is that we are totally dependent on these habits. These habits are running our day. We are not running our day. So what I recommend is that we must really go for a proper introspection time to time to check our habits, that we are on good track, or we are changing our habits or not, and we are regulating them or not. As I told you that you cannot remove your habits because they are engraved in our brain itself. So the primary thing that you can do is change your habits. In all the above examples that I have shared with you, we can clearly see that all the components of the loop, right from starting, trigger, routine, reward, and also craving. But in real life, while introspecting, it is very blurry to see and spot those components, and thus changing the habits might seem impossible for many of us. And you must have tried exercising, you must have tried stopping those extra carbs, those snacks. So let me tell you a framework on how you can easily separate each of these components and work on changing your habits. Remember, the first part of changing the habit is that you are not getting rid of it by making new habits. No, that is a temporary solution, as you must have noticed till now that you have tried, and after a few months or few weeks you shift back to your original self, to the previous habits, and you move forward. But what we are really going to do is that we are going to change the routine part of this habit loop. The habit loop, the particular part that we can change is routine. The researchers have shown that you can change the routines, and the reward and the triggers will remain same. You just need to change the routine. But does that mean if reward is getting drunk, so be it? Rather than that, what I really want you to understand, that we are going to find out the actual reward that you are seeking for, what is the actual craving that you are seeking for, and the triggers that are for that particular habit. So here we are going to step by step to how to change your habits. The first step will be isolating the routine. So in my example, when I was preparing for my pre-medical examination, in between studies, I really felt that I have had enough of information and my mind was exhausted. So I pick up my phone and for a break start browsing YouTube and Instagram. When starting with one stand-up comic video, then going to another, then another, then switching to Instagram, then going through more and more memes. And by the time I realized, I lost track of time, and an hour or two had just passed by. And I think most of you who are preparing for the exams or who are studying must have realized this, must have seen these similar problems. But you know what is interesting, that I promised not to do it again and end up doing it again and again, and then again and then again. So this is what the habit loop is. You know that this is wrong for you, you know you have wasted a lot of time, still you repeat it as your mind goes in the automatic mode. So my routine is, I get tired from a study session, I pick up my phone, check social media for some funny stuff, or it can be meme or stand-up comic. Then I lost track of time searching for the similar form of content. Now what is the trigger? Am I really tired from studies, or I want some distraction, or I want to laugh, or I want to perform another task? And what really is the reward? Is it the rush of the blood that I felt while laughing, or it's I just like wasting time, or what is it? So that I would be discussing in next video, as this video has already been quite long. So please stay tuned and definitely perform the first step now. And I recommend that if you want to change your habit, you must start isolating them. You must start writing them down. What you want to lose weight, start writing down your food habits, what you are eating, start maintaining a journal. First step is to isolate the routine, and that's what we are doing. Write it down. Maintain a journal, write it down. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you have any suggestion, please comment down. I am trying to improve my content daily, and I'm trying to improve my vocal and scripts. So if you have any suggestions, please comment down, and thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, think, learn and grow.